Hey there guys, so it's Sharif here with Adi Rio, and in these videos we look at experiences that are pretty much done in the industry, right? We look at UX design that some of the industry standard apps out there have done, and we look at some of their design decisions and just ask ourselves, like, why do they make that, or why do they design it like that? Okay, and in this video we're going to look at Lyft. Okay, and I know a lot of you know the app Lyft is very popular. It's very similar, or if not the same experience as Uber, right? You have two companies who are competing against each other. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna, utilize each other's design framework, right? And so you'll notice how if you are using the Uber app or using the Lyft app, there's a lot of experience or a lot of UI elements within the experience that are very similar. Okay, obviously it's a different company, different brand. Uber is more black and white. Lyft is more pink, right? Pink and white, I guess you could say. So in this case, let's go ahead and jump into Lyft real quick. So let's go ahead and just examine the UIs, look at some of the interaction, look at some of the different states, how, what exactly does the app do from an experience standpoint. Okay, so obviously you have like your map and everything. Let's go ahead and see what this drawer does. So like we have like this element at the bottom, which we consider kind of like a drawer, because you notice how there's like that little random line. I shouldn't say it's random, but that line element right there at the top, it mimics the ability of a drawer, right? Like a physical drawer, like with a handle. That's what that's supposed to be. It's a line, but it's a handle of a drawer. That's what this kind of is, right? So I'm gonna drag this up. You'll notice how there's different states, right? Let me push this down. And so that's like the default state. Once I move that up a little bit with my thumb, right? And I'm using an iPhone 13, okay? Let's go ahead and move that up one more time. So now we have this full page where we're changing that experience, where we have like this different state where if I pull it up all the way, on the left side it's cancel and on the right side is done. Okay, that's a pretty interesting experience because it just gives you more real estate to have more information you can easily get out of that, right? Because you already know you can easily just drag this around, and if I'm only placing my thumb in the middle of the screen, so that's really cool with the interaction. I could just drag this away and just get out of that, right? So I'm gonna go from my current location to, let's change the current location to Buckhead. Let's go to Dunwoody here in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, let's go Dunwoody. There we go. And so we have the same kind of drawer experience right here, but we have the ability to choose our Lyft ride, okay, and see the price. All right. Now you'll notice how the use of iconography, right, like all around the page, there's a few items like the PayPal icon in the bottom left-hand corner, and then you also have the schedule with text, right, and then you have the icon at the top right, which is a bell icon. Now this is really important as an experience designer because you're teaching people or showing them that you're giving them this memorable design, right? Because if you're showing somebody like a bell icon, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say to themselves, oh well, a bell icon, that might be a notification, or a calendar icon, that might be some type of calendar. Maybe I can schedule my ride, and obviously they have text there. But why don't you have the text at the top right hand corner? Well, then again, you're gonna have to look at the hierarchy of things. You're gonna also have to look at space and different design elements, right? So at the bottom right hand corner, maybe just a calendar icon is not enough, right? And this is where you want to just place it there, right? Maybe this is like the first run in the design. You place the icon there, and then you put it into testing, put it into some usability testing, right? You send your design, you send a prototype off to usertesting.com or whatever. Use whatever platform, whatever prototype that you have, test it and get that feedback. And I'm pretty sure, some people might be confused that if it's just a calendar icon, what does that mean, right? Until you tap on it, right? So maybe that's the reason why they put it there. And so for that bell icon, there's a bell, and then there's like a divider right there, right? So you have two different elements there. One, I can tap on that bell icon, right? So which means looks like it's set your arrival time, set a reminder basically. So it's not a notification in this case. It's a reminder basically. So I can set these reminders or whatever I need to do. Then you have in the middle, I can change the destination. So you have two different tapping states, right? And a part of that, this also works for Android as well as the iOS application, which I'm using now, iPhone, right? So you have that middle element there, which is tappable, and I'm tapping on that to see or to change my destination, right? So that's a pretty interesting design. I mean, I love it. It's simple and it's fluid. And obviously, if you have a design, if you have a solution to whatever the use case is, whatever the problem is, make sure that you put it out there for testing. Okay, that's really important. All right, so if you select a ride, it's gonna have like this highlighted state. So let's see, I'm gonna select one of the rides, and it pops open with this, as we consider in the industry, like a modal, right? It still is considered a drawer, right? I'm still able to drag this, but it doesn't have that drawer handle at the top, right? But it still has the same interaction as a drawer. So I can close out of that, or I can hit OK. Now, there was an example of this when I was working on a design, right? You want users to get out of that modal, right? This is a modal. It's like a pop-up, right? Something that focuses your attention on some type of actionable state. It's a pop-up that pops open like this, and you can close out of it by tapping outside of it. Notice how you have that scrim in the background, or the darkened layer in the background there. You can tap right there. You can hit close. Maybe there's a close button, or maybe there's like a CTA at the bottom, just like this. CTA meaning call to action. Okay. So when it comes to modals, you have different designs. You have different elements that can pretty much portray the modal. The biggest thing that you have, and one thing that I was trying to work at is it reasonable to have a close button as well as a button, a larger button like a CTA on the modal itself? Well, that really depends on the use case and what you're trying to, portray a part of that modal, right? So in this case, I would say, I think this is okay because one, it's information that has an action. I hit okay, and that means I, as the user, understand. It's like a psychological thing, right? It's like if I see information, I need to close out of it. If I hit X, I just need to close out of it, or I can hit OK, like as in I understand. And sometimes you can rename that CTA instead of just saying OK like it does on Lyft. You can say like I understand or got it. That's kind of common too, instead of just OK. So we're gonna hit OK. We're gonna hit OK. There we go. All right, and so I love how Lyft and Uber do this, but like when you, it's like they have like a lot of fluidity in their system, right? They're utilizing iOS to the max, right? And I'm going to open up the more menu here. Let's go and look at some of these items. So I'm going to go to let's go to notifications. So you do have a notifications tab, right? Which is the same icon as our bell. Let me see if I can find that again. So it's the same icon, but you notice how, again, like this one represents a calendar, or not necessarily a calendar, sorry, not a calendar, but like a reminder. You can set a reminder, set a time, and set a reminder. So, but here, it's notifications that, you might receive some notifications for your ride is here or something like that. You have ride history. Let's go and check that out. And, this is simply laid out to where you have 3 different tabs for a lot of robust information. So I have all, or I can look at my personal, or I can look at my business, right? So my personal rides or my business rides. And then this is just all. So it includes everything, okay? There's different ways to design this, but, in this case, it's a lot of information, a lot of scrollable information that you're going to be able to look at. So I think like creating like a tabbed view makes sense in this case, okay? And so you can also just go here to personal. I can export this out. And then, you have to select it. And so that's basically a different state, right? Let me hit cancel. So if I hit export, it opens up, or it changes the list items into tappable checkboxes. So I can select that and just email report, and it'll send to my email. Let's go ahead and look at rewards real quick. And this will be like our last thing. So on this page, really simple. The hierarchy of things is pretty straightforward. If I link account, it takes me to the browser, right? And what this is basically it's I want to say it's an internal browser, because if it's external, you'd be actually switching over to Google Chrome or Safari, whatever your default browser is. And that's really important when you're communicating the experience to your stakeholders, your developers, whomever. You want to communicate how is the user going to get from point A to point B the easiest, right? And preferably, I prefer you, depending on the use case, right? Depending on the use case, link a user to the browser internally, right? Like, for example, I hit link account and it's internally within the app linking me over to the Delta website or this Delta API where you can log in and whatever. I can hit done. I'm still in the app, right? Now, if it's external, I would tap somewhere and it would literally open up Safari or something. You see what I'm saying? So I copy that code. That's a cool little toast message. Yeah. So this must be some old stuff. I haven't used Lyft in ages. You know what I mean? Let's talk about this real quick. So when I go over to refer friends to Lyft, you notice how if I go to another page, right? That's something else. Send it. Let me see. Well, okay. So this is interesting. I was gonna say, like, a lot of times when we go to another page or we open up a modal, right? We can consider this as a full page modal because we're opening it up from bottom to top, and sometimes it might be a drawer, or sometimes it just might be considered like that pop-up or a modal per se. So it's kind of like opening up an overlay on top of the page, right? And for something quick and something actionable. And when we do that, normally there's like on the top left-hand corner or the right-hand corner, there's an X close button, right? But you notice in Lyft and Uber, they kind of change up that experience. You notice how I go to send a gift card, it does the same thing. It opens up from bottom to top and there's a back button. Well, it looks like it goes back to another page, and then let me do that again and it closes. See what I'm saying? So that's really important that, you know, if you're doing this navigation experience, is that you're communicating your design decision to your stakeholders with with an intention, right? Have an intention behind why you did that, okay? Because to me, that just kind of seems kind of iffy, right? It's confusing. And then when I go back, it's weird. But when I go to this page, it's like I have a close button, a close X button there. So it's just like, well, why can't we do that on the send a gift card page, right? Or why can't we have on the refer friends list a back button, like a chevron or a caret, and then we go back, like, you know? So communicate that with your developers and make sure that you're consistent across the board. Sure. All right, guys, that is going to conclude the Lyft video. If you did like this video, please go ahead and like it, as well as subscribe for more videos. We're going to do more of these videos with more apps. Again, the reference series is to help you as a designer to understand the industry and where they are headed and other designer design decisions. Yeah. So hope that was really helpful. Take care, guys. Peace.